Hello everyone, you're on the channel Who Created It and How. Today, let's talk about something truly magnificent, marble sculpture. Have you ever stood in front of a masterpiece like Michelangelo's David and just wondered, how on earth did they do that? How do you take a rough, heavy block of stone and turn it into something that looks so soft, so alive? Well, you're in the right place because we're about to dive deep into the fascinating world of marble carving. It all starts, of course, with the marble itself. Not just any rock will do. Sculptors, both ancient and modern, are incredibly picky. They look for stone that's pure, with a fine grain and no cracks or imperfections. A famous source is the Carrara quarry in Italy, which has been providing sculptors with its brilliant white marble for centuries. Michelangelo himself would travel there to personally select his blocks, tapping them with a hammer and listening to the sound to judge their quality. Imagine the pressure, choosing the one perfect block of stone that would become a timeless masterpiece. Once the perfect block is chosen, the real work begins. The first step is what's called roughing out or blocking. This is the most physically demanding part. Using a large mallet and various points and chisels, the sculptor starts to remove large chunks of unwanted stone. Think of it like a 3D sketch. They're not focused on details yet. They're just trying to establish the basic form, the general shape of the figure they see locked inside the stone. This requires a huge amount of strength, precision, and a clear vision of the final piece. One wrong strike, and a crucial part of the sculpture, like an arm or a leg, could be lost forever. To guide them, sculptors often create smaller models out of clay or wax first. These models, called maquettes, act as a 3D blueprint. In the past, they would use a system of pointing machines, a sort of mechanical compass, to transfer measurements from the small model to the large block of marble. This helped ensure the proportions were accurate as they chipped away. It's a methodical process of measuring, marking, and then carefully removing the stone layer by layer. It's less about wild artistic inspiration at this stage and more about careful, calculated engineering. After the general shape is established, the process moves into more detailed work. The sculptor switches to smaller tools. They might use a toothed chisel, also known as a claw chisel, which has multiple points. This tool allows them to refine the shapes and create more subtle curves and planes on the surface. It leaves a series of parallel lines on the stone. And if you look closely at unfinished sculptures, you can often see these marks. It's like they are slowly combing the stone, bringing the form into sharper focus. Every tap is controlled, every angle considered. They're getting closer to the final surface, but they're still not at the detail stage. Next comes the really delicate part. The sculptor will use even smaller, flatter chisels and rasps to smooth out the marks left by the claw chisel. A rasp is like a file for stone, used to grind away small amounts of material and shape the intricate details. This is where the true artistry shines. Think about the curls of hair, the folds of fabric, or the subtle muscles in a hand. This is all done with incredible patience and a delicate touch. The sculptor is constantly moving around the statue, looking at it from every angle, checking how the light hits the surface. It's a slow, meditative process. One of the most mind-blowing techniques is how they create the illusion of softness or transparency, especially with fabric. Look at a sculpture like Bernini's The Veiled Virgin. You can almost see through the marble veil. How is this possible? It's achieved through a masterful use of finishing tools and an understanding of light. Sculptors will use drills for deep, dark shadows, like in the folds of a robe or the pupil of an eye. This contrast between light and dark creates a sense of depth and texture. The thinner they carve the marble in certain areas, the more light can pass through it, creating that incredible translucent effect. It's a high-risk, high-reward technique. Carving too thin could shatter the piece. Finally, we get to the polishing. This is what gives marble its famous luminous glow. The process starts with rubbing the statue with rougher materials, like emery or pumice stone, and gradually moving to finer and finer abrasives. Think of it like using sandpaper. starting with a coarse grit and moving to an ultra-fine one. The final polish might be done with a material called tin oxide, which is a very fine powder, often mixed with water and rubbed onto the surface with a cloth. This laborious process closes the pores of the stone and creates a surface that reflects light beautifully, making the sculpture seem to come alive. Some sculptors, however, chose to leave parts of their work unpolished to create a contrast in textures. For example, they might polish the skin to a high sheen, but leave the hair or clothing with a rougher finish to make them look more realistic. So, from a massive rough block of stone to a polished, lifelike figure, the process is a marathon of strength, patience, and incredible skill. It's a combination of brute force and the most delicate touch. Each sculpture holds the story of its own creation, a testament to the artist's vision and dedication. It's a conversation between the sculptor and the stone, a process that can take months or even years to complete. And it's not just ancient history. Artists today are still using these traditional methods, sometimes blending them with modern tools like diamond-tipped saws or pneumatic hammers to speed up the initial roughing out stage. But the core principles remain the same: a deep respect for the material and a meticulous, step-by-step process to reveal the form within. Next time you're in a museum and you see a marble statue, take a closer look. See if you can spot the subtle tool marks, admire the way the light plays on the polished surface, and appreciate the immense journey that piece of stone has taken. It's not just a statue. It's a story of human creativity, perseverance, and the timeless beauty we can create with our own hands. Thank you so much for joining us today on Who Created It and How. I hope you enjoyed this look into the art of marble carving. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the way things are made. Let us know in the comments what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video.